So I'm back in the garage here today. After Miles of Mayhem last year, started to get a bit of valve train noise. Almost sounds like a lifter, maybe bent push rod to me. So I'm going to start by doing a compression check, make sure that's all good. If that checks out, then I'm going to dig in further, maybe pull the valve covers off, have a look, check the push rods, make sure there's nothing wonky as far as the rocker arms go. If you haven't checked my last two videos out, you should probably do that. I went through the whole front end on the truck, switched everything over to tubular upper and lower control arms. I've got new spindles, new brakes, pads, you name it. Changed it all out. Looks really good, actually. So I guess I'll get to it. Here are the results of each cylinder. 170 on 1, 165 on 2, 175 on 3, 160 on 4, 200 on 5, 165 on 6, 175 on 7, and 185 on 8. So I'm happy with those compression numbers. Still got the valve train noise though, so obviously I'm going to just have a look. I'm going to take the valve covers off, see if I can't see anything visually there with the rocker arms. I might pull the push rods out, just make sure everything's still straight. I mean, it's not very hard to do. I've got to change the driver's side, or passenger side, sorry, valve cover gasket anyway. It started leaking on Miles of Mayhem last year, so whatever. Got to be in there anyway, and always looking for something to do on the truck, so let's get after it. So that's got the valve covers off, the rocker arms out, the push rods out. I don't see anything there that really scares me. Everything still looks good, so I don't know. The only thing, like this push rod here and this one here, are not quite worn as the other ones are. It looks like it's barely scratched the surface. So I don't know what that means, but with everything that, up top looking good, I think that basically confirms that it likely is a lifter. So I've got a lot more work to do here. The unfortunate side is I don't think it's going to be possible for me to pull these heads off without pulling the motor. I've got ARP studs on this block, and I don't know if you can really see that. Well, it is insanely tight to the firewall. So it's not like I can just unbolt it, slide the heads forward, and lift them out. I could pull a studs, I suppose, but even then, I think it's going to be less work just to pull the motor out. So I've got to drain the coolant, take the blower off, fuel system, everything. I've got to strip this whole front end so I can pull the motor out and, get to swapping those lifters out. So things could definitely be worse. Lifter is really not that big of a deal. It's a lot of work, sure, but the main thing is the motor's not hurt, and this is relatively inexpensive to fix. So I have yet to order lifters. I'm not exactly sure what style I'm going to go with, whether I shell out for tie bar lifters or if I just get GM Performance ones. If you have any suggestions, maybe let me know in the comments. If you found something that works good, let me know. I definitely just cheaped out initially, and now I'm paying the price. So lesson learned. Chalk that up to education anyway. So the other thing I'm still debating is the camshaft. The cam that I've got in the truck right now is not really correct for the setup. It's actually designed for a centrifugal blower, which I initially had for this truck when I was building the motor to begin with. I had a P1 SC, and I was just not going to be able to make that work with how tight it is in the engine bay. I lucked out and came across this used blower, root style blower. I ended up selling the P1 SE and going with this instead. So by then I already had the wrong camshaft in the engine. So there definitely would be something to be gained by switching to a proper positive displacement camshaft versus the centrifugal. The exhaust valve vents are slightly different. It should help me on the top end anyway. Plus, the converter is way too loose for the camshaft that's in there right now anyway. So my goals for the truck are 7.0 in the eighth and 11.5 in the quarter. That's kind of the limit where NHRA says you need to have a cage in the vehicle. I'm not willing to put a cage in the truck. It's just going to ruin the look and what I'm kind of going for. So it'd be nice to push it as close as I can to that limit without actually crossing that line. For instance, in Miles of Mayhem, I run the 750 class. So if the truck was capable of 7.0, I could just dial it back a little bit instead of right now where I'm pushing the truck as hard as I can, potentially to wreck stuff so that I can be competitive in it. I'd like to have that power on tap versus being tapped on power is what I'm trying to say. So, camshaft would help me get there. Water box definitely in those hotter days, and relocating my water methanol injection nozzle so that it sprays onto the rotors is definitely going to help. Just to, lower those charge air temperatures will help make more power. Pretty simple. So I've got a lot of work to do here. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. I'll have more videos to come on this. So be sure to check those out, but all the same, I appreciate you stopping by the channel. Have yourselves a good day.